Good afternoon. How are you doing today, Cheryl?
I am good. It's sunny. It's
It
nice.
is sunny and spring is here. Cheers to spring.
Cheers.
I have a mimosa.
I'm just having wine.
There's nothing wrong with that. Um, yeah, so I think there may be a bird going into the bird box. Sorry, that was a little squirrel moment. I was looking out and appreciating the fact that the Bradford pears have shed all of their white funk.
Yes.
Because I'm serious, like the allergies, I keep talking about it and I'm not trying to keep talking about it, but it's like serious. It's like the resistance is out there. May the odds forever be in your favor.
Yeah.
Um,
So, what are we talking about today?
so we're just talking about kind of like a this or that travel style, like what is your preference? So for example, I'll give you this is like easy. So would you prefer, are you a carry-on or are you a checked bag type of person?
I'm a both. I'm taking a carry-on and I'm taking a checked bag.
Oh, well then.
Let me rephrase that. Carry-on is not always the carry-on suitcase. Sometimes it's just a larger
It
backpack,
depends on
my
what
go bag.
airline you're on, right?
Mhm.
Because they're really stretching the whole carry-on. It's really more like a personal item with a lot of the budget places. Like that's not really a
Yes.
carry-on. That like
Well, and
I'm going
yeah.
checked bag at the very least. And yes, we've traveled together and we don't travel light. So it could be a checked bag and a carry-on and a personal item. There, we'd say.
I that's my preference. If I had
I
a
mean,
choice,
honestly, yeah.
yeah. How about when it comes to packing, because we do overpack, are you rolling your clothes in that style that everybody's talking about to pack tighter, or are
I've
you
tried
just folding your
I've
clothes?
tried I mean my first choice is folding just because I'm a creature of habit and that's what I know. I tried the whole rolling. I don't feel like I got more in by rolling. I think it you can still stack it in. I don't know. So I'm gonna go with I'm a folder. What about you?
I start off as a roller, and my suitcase and my bags are very organized pre-trip. What it looks like coming back is a whole different experience. It is literally just thrown in there however it will fit. There's no
Yes.
organization.
Agreed. Because
But
I don't
I'm
give a shit. By the time it's coming home, it's all needs to be washed and stuff like that. I just need to make sure that the suitcase zips. That's my only
exactly,
criteria
yes.
coming home. It does not have to look neat, not wrinkled. It can be whatever. It just the suitcase has to zip. That's what I got.
Right. And when I'm packing, I'm making a list. Like, even if it's a mental list, I'm having my days. If we're going somewhere where we need bathing suits, I've got all the components for that. Like, I'm putting things in piles and organizing it like that. So I know I have everything I need. The funny thing is coming back, especially when I don't travel with the kids, or when the kids were little, I did this, but I'm not making sure I'm bringing everything back. I've totally left things before because I'm not doing the check. But
Yeah. I totally get that. And how about suitcase versus backpack? But I think I've brought both and I use the backpack as like a day trip type of thing. If I'm going
Mhm.
to the beach or whatever, I want to be able to put sunscreen and all that stuff. So I'm not bringing my full suitcase, but I want to have, even if it's not a backpack, I want to have a secondary bag that I can do
Right.
for day tripping. How do you do the same thing pretty much?
Yeah, I try to make sure all the bags that I'm taking are usable in some way. So if I'm doing a checked
Like
bag
your
and a
go bag.
carry-on, or like a personal item, I'm making sure that personal item
Yep.
can be used for the rest of the trip. It's got a purpose. And then if I can't, like depending on the style of trip we're going on, I will take one of those rolled up style bags and stick that in my suitcase or the backpack or whatever, so I have it when I'm there. But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
I'm
smart.
definitely about that. And obviously, we talked about packing light versus packing for every scenario. I'm packing for every scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I don't pack light, and I'm not planning to adjust that behavior.
Right. I agree.
Sorry,
Okay, so
not
this is
sorry.
interesting because when it comes to luggage and packing, we are very similar in that we are perfectly fine bringing the whole house and kitchen sink and all. Like we're perfectly fine
I
with that.
think we've entertained other guests in the hotel when they see our carts
Hmm.
plural.
Yes.
They have to help us get into the door and into the elevator. They're like, "Damn, girls, are you moving in?" And we're like, "No, we're just here for the weekend."
I know. Yeah, that's the thing here for the weekend. All right, so we're very similar in that, but let's see how we are when it comes to transportation showdowns. Are
Okay,
you a plane versus train? What would be, and those two, what would be your choice?
I'm definitely plain. I mean, it's not that I don't want to do. I am dying to get on Rail Bookers. That's one of our big vendors, and they have fit packages that are really customizable. So I do want to experience train, but for me, I'm just basing this on it takes a lot longer to travel
Hmm.
by train versus plane. So when I'm traveling these days, I'm traveling to make it the shorter distance. Otherwise, it for me it would be um plane versus road tripping it. And then where are you
Oh,
there? Because then if we're talking, we just had to encounter that for Podfest, right? We
yeah.
had to decide whether we wanted to take really bad flights that were not the ideal time, and it would have taken us the same amount of time to go. There wasn't even a direct flight to get down to Florida. It was going to take us almost as long to fly two different flights with a layover than it was to just drive straight through. So
Yeah, it was so much cheaper. So I agree with you. If it's plane versus road trip, it really depends on, is the goal
what
here
is
to
the
just get to the
experience? Yeah,
destination?
of the Golden.
Or if like road tripping is fun, I like road tripping to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Train travel, again, if I'm just trying to get from point A to point B, I'm going to choose plane and probably car over train
Well,
because
but I will
it takes
say
so long.
if you are going for the experience of because on those trains there's beds, there's like you can be sleeping while
Mhm.
you're traveling. You can't if you're driving straight through, the driver
That's
obviously
true.
does not get any reprieve. You're driving. But if you're trying to get from point A to point B in a timely manner and you don't feel like you could do the 12 or 15-hour drive, then I would recommend a plane over versus a road trip because then you're on there and you can do whatever. You can eat, you can drink, you
Yeah.
can sleep, you can do whatever you
It's
want.
like
So
being on a cruise on land, being on the ship, everything is there. Now, I would, for the adventure, I would do, like you said, Rail Bookers or Rocky Mountain Tier. Both of those are really good for the adventure. But it's set up that way. Their trains are different. They're made more for that adventure versus your regular like Amtrak where you just have a seat. But
right.
yeah, I agree with that.
And the next
And
category, I think would depend more so where you live in the country, if you're in a city versus. But what do you think about like Uber versus like public transportation per se?
I would rather take an Uber over a taxi. And we're talking about in the state side. I would rather take an Uber versus a taxi because as we found out on one of our trips, the taxi was so much more expensive
Yeah.
and we it was just not the best experience. Public transportation, if we're talking about like the buses or the subways or I would do that. I would love to take. I wish we had better public transportation here.
Well, but I'll say the light rail has come a long way. We did not, when I was just doing that campus tour with Alex, and the light rail to get to Uptown Charlotte is included in the your
Mhm.
tuition of, and you can just hop on the light rail and be in Uptown Charlotte in less than 30 minutes. Like that's amazing. You could
Have you
not,
taken the light rail yet?
yeah, yeah, I have taken the light rail.
Yeah, so have I for events because I'll park at that right in front of UNCC, that parking garage, and
Exactly.
then take it all the way into Uptown so I don't have to deal with the traffic. So it's great for events.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, and we didn't have that. So I mean, public transportation where you can take it, especially if you're dealing with just traffic in general, it definitely will save you some time because it's a direct shot up the rail to
It
get
can be
to.
intimidating though, because I remember we were both, when we went to New York City, we were like, let's do the subway. And we walked down, we tried to buy tickets and we saw the signs and we're like, never mind. And we walked back up. We couldn't figure it. We didn't feel
Well, that was
confident
after
enough.
we had spent 2 hours walking around like a 4 block grid.
Right, yeah. And we
Just
had just
we were
traveled.
so lost.
Yeah, but it was one of those. We were only there for less than 24 hours, so
Yeah.
we did not take the time to like investigate it. But I, it public transportation can be
It
intimidating.
can be intimidating, especially in New York City, like the Big
Yeah.
Apple.
But I
I
want to
can't.
do it. So that's on my bucket list. When we go back to New
Yeah.
York City, I want to experience, I want to learn how to navigate that. But all right, let's talk about accommodations because this people are pretty picky about, and I feel that. Hotel versus Airbnb. What are you choosing?
Okay, that's pretty complicated because for me, that is situational to the trip that I'm going on. Sometimes I want to be in a hotel, sometimes I want to be in an Airbnb. Like if we're in New York City and we want to be walking around in Times Square, I would definitely pick a hotel. If I'm in the mountains out in like Gatlinburg or near Dollywood, I want to be in an Airbnb that has a hot tub on the deck and I want to be able to be surrounded by nature and I want that experience of that. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm hotel. I will choose a hotel over
And
Airbnb.
what is your reasoning behind that?
I think Airbnbs are, they're just not my preference. I don't want to clean. I don't even like to clean my own house. I have no desire to do it. Now, and this is not to say that I leave messy because we have a timeshare, we have to clean it. We don't have services come every day. I prefer the condo style or something like that where there's amenities around and all that's kind of included. Um, but I don't want to have to deal with all those extra fees that you get, all these rules. Nope. I want clear cut pampering, I guess is the word. I don't know. I'm not there to follow this list. I don't know. Airbnb stress me out.
Okay, well,
It
fair
really
enough.
does.
I
I
get
don't love
you, but
it.
I think especially when you're going with larger numbers, hotels get really like the amount
But
you're
you can
paying.
get condo style hotels. Like when I'm thinking that, I'm like, you can get three, four bedroom connecting, or you can go through, it's not individually owned. I think that's more of what I want is that style versus
Yeah, because
someone's
you're blurring
house.
the line a little bit for me on that. Because when I think of hotel, I think the max you're getting in there's four people in two queen beds.
I
Uh,
guess because we've always had more than one room in our hotels because of the kids. We got older, when we were young and broke as hell, it was the two double beds with everybody. But as we got older, we had separate bedrooms. And then even Dale and I travel with separate bedrooms if we can, because we like our space, we like to sleep. And so I can get all the amenities of the hotel with the
you want
space.
hotel amenities in kind of like a Airbnb type of more room, more freedom as far as what you
And
can
I guess
do.
I just don't want to have to worry about. I also watch way too much true crime.
Well, and
So
I also think of hotel as like if I'm out in the mountains, I want to sit in my own hot tub on the deck. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to have to go to a hotel down into the pool area where there might be a lot of people. Like some in certain areas, I just want more privacy, which I think you can
you
get
definitely,
with.
I think you would get, yeah.
So for me, it just depends on the situation. If I got a girls' weekend going on and we just want some downtime, it doesn't have to be, or even if it's a couples weekend, I want a more chillax atmosphere versus if I'm going to Nashville, I'll stay in a hotel with my girls. And if we're just going to different clubs and going out to restaurants, and
So
that
let me
space
ask you
is for
this then,
eating.
because I think you're right. I think when we say the word Airbnb, which is more of a branded word versus what it encompasses, because I think about like the cabins at like Treehouse Vineyard or something like that. I don't consider that an Airbnb, but it's also not a hotel.
Yeah, like that's why I'm saying it's for me, it's the scenario. It depends on where we are and what we're doing versus what would be the best accommodations. And maybe I'm thinking too much into this because I'm a travel agent.
No, I agree with you though, but I think if you say the word Airbnb, I'm usually turned off right away. But when you dive deeper into what that means, maybe we need to come up with a different word when we're talking to people and we say hotel versus, and I don't know, that's a good point. We're going to table that and come back to it. As travel agents, we need to find out a better way to use that word because Airbnb means this to me, whereas hotel means all the others. So, and I think there is a
There's definitely
crossover.
gray areas and that's an
Yeah.
onion. There's a lot of layers in there.
Right?
It's like
All
Shrek and
right.
the Onion. It's an onion.
Okay, so that's something I'm gonna definitely write that down and be like, let's look at that because I think using that verbiage is uh, just making it more pigeonholed when it's not, it shouldn't be.
Right. There is like that's also like this the what level of luxury you're looking for in these accommodations, like a hostile. You see how I feel about a hostel?
I know, I know that's where you're going, but
Freudian slip there. Do you want to stay in a hostile or a boutique hotel?
and I'm assuming your answer is gonna be boutique hotel.
I mean, I've never stayed in a hostel. And well, yeah, I would probably fare better, or that would be my first choice, would be not even a boutique. I'm not that prissy pants, but I'm just
Let
saying,
me ask you this. What do you consider a boutique hotel? I don't think boutique hotels are always super expensive. I think they're more,
I think I think it's the experience. And see, it all comes back
yeah,
to the experience. Like some boutique hotels are just that just means they're small and
right.
they cater to wellness, they cater to beauty, they cater to
Or
that
they're like a bed
doesn't
and
mean
breakfast, or they
right.
are small mom and pop style. That's what I think of when I think of boutique, not bougie. I think bougie is on a different level.
Again, I think it's an onion. I think there's layers of a little bit of that everywhere you go. But yes, would I rather stay in a more boutique style or than versus a hostel? Yes. I what about you? Would you prefer what
I think it depends on if I'm traveling like solo or just like one or two people, I'm probably going to choose the boutique over the hostel. However, if I'm traveling with a group, I think hostels are great. I've looked into group or hostels for group travel, especially youth and student groups and scout groups. And there are some amazing ones out there.
Oh,
Plus,
I booked
international
them. Yeah.
travelers. We actually have hostels here in the States, but I'm
Not as
familiar with a
common
few of
though.
them. But stays are more traditional, or that's not the right word. You see them more often internationally than you do here in the States.
Agreed.
And I've read reviews, they're great. You have your own, sometimes you have your
Yeah.
own space. It's just a tiny room, but you have a shared bathroom. It's like being in a dorm most of the time, is what I would think of it. So again, like you said, I guess it all comes down to what experience are you looking for?
And I think you can find that in any one of these this or that categories. So if we're talking destination and experience, how about Disney adults versus Disney avoiders? This is a hot topic,
It
right? Am
is.
I right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have your Mickey Mouse ears on?
Nope, I'm a Disney avoider if I
Same,
can.
same
I'm a
girl,
Disney
same.
avoider.
I am. I've been to Disney. I
Same.
do believe it's magical. Um, but I'm definitely not one of those people that like budgets it out for multiple times per year, and that's where you're truly in your happy place. And you all dress up with the ears and the outfits. I think that there's a place for that, and I'm happy for those people that this is what, it really gives them something. You can see it, you can tell, you can see
Right.
how enthusiastic they are to get in their outfits day by day, and it is something, but it doesn't do that for me.
And I think it's also different because one, we went when our kids were younger, and now we all, which, and my kids want to go back. They absolutely talk about it. They've even talked about that being instead of us having like a Christmas this year, we go to Disney instead as adults going to Disney, not
That's
Disney
that
adults.
could
There's a
be a cool
difference there.
experience. Maybe it's
The
something
thing with
completely
Disney
different.
though is I really think it depends on if you're going and it's like a one and done kind of thing. It takes a lot of planning to get the best bang for your buck. I really think
Disney
it does.
absolutely
It's not
does.
a on the fly kind of trip.
And I would recommend for sure people that are travel agents that are Disney fanatics also. We know a couple of them,
Yeah.
Brian, Jackie, Julie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they are invested and they know the back
So
doors to
knowledgeable.
go. There's so
Yes.
many like hidden, like if you go to this bench and mention this code word, like it's
There,
a
I
whole
definitely
underground world.
think people should do their research and get assistance if you've never
I
been in, or
would.
you just don't like planning it. But Google Disney travel agents or travel agents that specialize in Disney, because those are the ones that are like with any niche.
they
You want
can
to find
change,
that.
level up your experience.
Yes, yeah. And I'm gonna say I'm totally gonna own it out there. I'm not that travel
I
agent.
would send you, if I had somebody that's like, I want the most amazing Disney experience, like I can get you I mean, I had an amazing Disney experience, but I
Same.
don't know, I know some of the inside secrets just because I did so much hours and hours and hours of research. But there are people out there like the Bryans and Jackies that just know all of the hidden secrets. Like,
Yeah, and they enjoy that. Like, I'm gonna be straight up. That's I if you know what you want, you know where you want to stay, you know where your tickets. I'll 100% help you and
but
schedule
I'll
whatever.
I'll show you like sneaky club level shit. You know what I
I'm
mean?
not
Like
doing
that.
that. I'm not that
There's
invested.
that's where I shine. Like
I
how
know
many people
that
you
that
can fit
is
in, what you can get out of the club level,
my
what you can
great.
sneak into the parks food wise. I know all
My
that shit.
best customer service when it comes to Disney is to recommend amazing Disney agents because
Correct.
we
I
have so
agree.
many, or we have a few that I know of that this is something they are super
We
passionate
do.
about. So I would definitely recommend that one out or
Yep.
refer that one out. All
Yep.
right. Let's talk. Oh, this is a good one. Touristy hotspots versus off the beaten path travel.
Well, you know
What's your
what?
preference?
I like I'm more I love your off the beaten, like the hidden gems, we thrive on hidden gems. And I
Hmm.
think sometimes in this day and age, if there's like a influencer or something and they send somebody to all these places and it's overcrowded, I'm avoiding that all day. Like I've been to a lot of touristy places. I'm kind of more into the off the beaten or the hidden gem and going behind the waterfall hikes. Like that's my jam where I'm at right now. Like I've done touristy stuff and I'm not saying that I would never. I still have so many things on my bucket list that are touristy. But right now, my vibe, my gem is the hidden gem type of off the beaten path. What about you?
I want the touristy stuff. I because usually if it's something touristy, that's what drew my attention to that area.
But I don't like
And
crowds.
I don't mind the crowds and I can choose to go off season, but if I've been planning, so I think about this. Like when I went to Vegas, I did all the touristy things. When I went to the Grand Canyon, did all the touristy things. I went to the Four Corners, which is literally nothing out in the middle of nowhere
It's four
because
corners.
it's something that I learned about I've either heard about for years or it sparked I have no problem doing the touristy things. When I get to travel internationally and I get to go like to Paris, I'm seeing all those touristy things that
I
I grew
respect
up
that.
dreaming. I'm
That's why
not
I said I'm
letting
gonna do both, but I don't mind doing the off the beaten path stuff. I have had so much joy walking behind a waterfall here in North Carolina that I'm like, who else gets to walk behind this waterfall? Like this is kind of magical with the water coming down, and you just feel like this is a hidden gem. It gives you a
yeah.
different. So I'm gonna be like Switzerland all the time because this is what I am. I'm gonna see like there's a time and a place and an opportunity to enjoy any of this and all of this given the
Right.
scenario,
I
right?
was thinking that since we've been going through this isn't a great version for us of this or that as travel agents because
We love it all.
I know I was just we
And
really
we'd
can
love to
find a
book all of
per
it for everybody.
but when it comes to the tour, if I had to choose between touristy and off the beaten path, and it's somewhere I've been planning, I'm going to do all the touristy things because
And
that's
there's
what drew
nothing
me
wrong with
there.
that.
That's what I learned about or whatever. I'm really going to do that. All right, the
Well,
next two, winter vacations versus summer vacations.
so this is funny because you know me and I don't like the cold. I was born and
Right.
raised in Maine and I love Maine and Maine is beautiful, but it's pretty fucking cold. And it has a very small window of summer. So it's funny when you ask me winter versus summer. In winter, I'm gonna be going on a cruise to somewhere tropical, and
Right.
in summer, I'm gonna still also be going to maybe the mountains on a waterfall hike or going to Dollywood. I'm still gonna be enjoying whatever the warmest thing I can do. You're not gonna
Right.
find me on a ski lift. You're not gonna find me like ice fishing or doing the polar plunge. That's my version of vacation is whatever is not cold. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was funny when I first read this. I thought, well, I'm going on vacation in the winter if I'm able to and the summer. But what you're saying is correct. They mean winter style vacations like the skiing or something like that. I mean, I would try it because honestly, I've never been skiing, but I went snow tubing because we went up, we have the mountains near us, so I've done snow, and
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for less than an hour, and then I was ready to go sit by the fire. But I won't mind trying it. But you're right, and I would love to try to ski, but it would probably be like a half a day thing, and then I'm depending. Maybe I loved
For
it.
me, the biggest branching out winter trip that I'm willing to take at this point in my life is an Alaska cruise. That is
Yeah,
the
but you're gonna
coldest.
take that in the summer, so it's still gonna be
It's
warm.
still
It's gonna
gonna
be
be,
cold,
you're gonna
but
see snow.
that is true. Potentially, yeah. All
I
right,
mean,
so
that's
let's.
as branching out as I can go to the winter wonderland.
Well, our next one is beach versus mountains, but I'm gonna just say we both will go to both, depending on the time of year, and move on since we are chatting and we got a couple more I definitely want to get through. So let's
Okay.
move on to big cities versus small town travel. What's your preference there?
Well, you know, I like them both.
I realized we didn't think about this topic before we came up with all these verses, but I don't think we thought
Well, what I
about.
would say is I'll pick small towns over big cities because big cities have larger populations and I don't like crowds. and so, and so I think I would pick and there's so many beautiful small towns like Chimney Rock and Blowing Rock and all
Yeah.
of the little. I love a small town where you can go into like the general store or whatever, and they've been there forever, and everybody's so
Mhm.
welcoming. To me, I would pick a small town over a big city just because I guess that's how I was born and raised, and I do not like a ton of people. Like, I don't want to feel claustrophobic. I like open air and space.
You want your waterfall and your mountain. Yeah, I totally get that. My goal is to hit most of the big touristy cities. I really truly want to hit all of them. I was actually just watching a show based in LA yesterday and I was seeing all the scenic views when they're driving around and I was having like FOMO. I cannot wait to I've been to LA one time as a layover. We stayed the night for our flight, but I didn't get to explore the city. But those I want to go to the big cities. I want to hit them all.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's move on. We have definitely two different paths that we could diverge on them.
Right.
So big city versus small city. Then we're talking about guided tours versus exploring on your own. I think for me, that just depends on where you are. If I'm in
Right. I
Europe,
realized that.
if I'm in Europe and I don't know anything where I'm going, I want a guided tour. If I'm bringing you to North Carolina where I've been on the trails and I know the suspension hike bridges and all of that type situation, then I'm definitely would be fine to be exploring on my own. So I for me it's always situational. What about you?
I think it would be a structured tour versus a guided tour. I would like someone there. If I'm going with somewhere I've never been, like overseas
Well, kind
or
of like when you were in Jamaica, when you just got in the taxi and you're like, show me all the cool places.
I did. I just
I
went,
don't
we
think you
found
would have been
the
brave enough to
local
do that.
driver and was like, hey, take us to the not like there are times I want that, but there's also been times where I've gone on certain trips. Like when we went to Hawaii, we had a guide. Now we were with a bigger group and we were there for an event and we had someone in the location that if we needed them, they were there. We were on our own, we had a schedule, but we had someone if we were needed. I think I would want that, especially when if I'm traveling overseas,
And
that
if
I
you
would
don't know all of the customs, like certain shit means different things in different
absolutely,
countries. So
yeah.
I think the more you branch out, the more you need some kind of assistance. You
I
know what I mean?
agree. Well, and I don't want a fully guided tour because if I find something, I'm the type that will deviate if I'm
You don't
just
want it
going.
to be cookie cutter. You
Well,
want
I
it
don't
to
want it to be so structured that
right.
I come across something that's absolutely amazing and I can't do it. That's what I don't want. I want to be able to have like a general plan. And
Yeah.
then if something amazing comes up, we can pivot, or I that's what I really want. I don't want someone telling me, guys, we are only
Fair
here for
enough.
an hour. If I'm
Yep.
loving it, I'd rather spend half the day here and skip the next one if that's what I'm loving. That's what I would prefer.
Well, and then that takes you to fast-paced sightseeing versus slow travel. And I think it depends on what your trip, how long you have invested in that trip, how much you're hoping to see. If I'm only going to Italy once in my life, which please Lord,
Hmm.
let that not be the case, but my goal is to hit all of those places in that window. It depends on if you're there for a week versus 2 weeks, then you can go
Right.
fast paced versus having a little more leisure time. So it just for me that depends on what that trip that you've booked out.
I agree. I think there's a time and place for both. Fast-paced sightseeing is more for I need to get in as much as I can because I'm probably not going to be back here versus this is somewhere I can go. I can go up to DC because I love DC. I don't have to be fast-paced there because
You're
I've been
not
there a
gonna
couple
find Miss
times.
D in DC anytime.
I love Washington, DC. I love the
It's
museums.
not anything against DC. I
It's
just
the
like
crowd in the big city. And I have to use I use public transportation there. I absolutely do in DC.
mhm.
When I've gone there. But oh, here's one. Early morning flights versus red eyes. What's your preference?
I would pick an early morning flight over a red eye for sure.
I want an early morning flight there, but I want a red eye back.
That's fair because well, agreed. I try to get, well, and as a travel advisor, we know the early morning flights get out there's the least amount of chance of trip
Mhm.
delay. And if your trip is delayed, then you're going to make it to your destination that day. So I would always advocate for an early morning flight versus like rolling in there at like noon or after.
Right.
That's where you start to run into some trouble. But I don't mind, like you said, the red eye going home. You're exhausted anyway, but I can't sleep on a plane. So that's oh, I can't, I wish I had that superpower or power because I feel like sleeping on a plane, train, for me, it's unaccountability of my belongings and my person. Like, what's going to happen if I fall asleep? Anything, somebody could fucking kill me, inject me with
I can
something,
absolutely fall asleep. I have I've
steal
told you I
my.
sleep in the airport. I've slept in the airport when we've had layovers. I'm
There's
all
no
stressed out in
way.
those chairs.
No,
Like I'm
no,
totally crashing. I'm not.
no.
All
Somebody could
right.
harvest my organs. I can't do that.
Yeah, here's one of our well, it's one of mine. Food and drink debates. Are we doing street food or are we doing fine dining?
Ooh, well, you know what? This is a gray area for me. So let me ask you what you're because I don't eat that much and I I have reservations about what they're cooking up in those food trucks.
See, I'm picking street food with maybe one night at fine dining or even
Yeah,
afternoon if
I
we're
guess I
having
would pick
an
the
amazing
street food
brunch
over fine dining just because I don't like long drawn out meals. Like
that's me too. I don't love
I
that either.
don't like long drawn out meals. Like
But also I will never forget Dale and I went to a fine dining, and I say that in air quotes, in Vegas, experience. And the it was a type of restaurant. This was, gosh, I don't even know how many years ago. When I don't remember if I asked for a soda or Daniel asked for a soda. Because I mean, we weren't super big drinkers, but they kind of frowned upon us for the soda. They had to bring a can. It wasn't even something they offered. And
yeah,
we were
that
so
reminded me of you can't take them anywhere, quote.
that, and then the one time for Alexis's birthday, she wanted to go to, oh, anyway, I'm just embarrassing in a fine dining because I don't have the etiquette. I don't do it on purpose, but I don't want that rigid structure, but I want to dress up and I will dress up to go to a street vendor, street food.
I think you should wear whatever you want
Yeah,
wherever
so
you
I don't
want.
need the fine dining
Right.
experience to have the fine dining
I
experience.
guess
That
I
makes
want a
sense.
happy medium between I want the food to be cooked and
Oh, street food
good.
is so good. I mean, yeah, but you have a risk of getting at any restaurant crap food. I think more of street food is I don't it's not commercial. So they're not just putting out thousands of different
No,
styles.
and
I
that's
like
a
it.
fucking hard job to have. So
It
I think
is,
they're
yeah.
invested in it. I think most people that have a food truck are like they love to cook and that is their passion. And they so for me, I think I would choose street food over gourmet dining. If the situation it's always situational, but I mean, yeah, I don't like long drawn out meals. If it was a
Same.
special occasion where there's this amazing restaurant that you want to see, then there is a time and a place for that. But overall, the long fine dining, I would just I would much rather do like tapas style and
Mhm.
sit over a few hours with glasses of wine versus a gourmet dinner being all stuffy.
All right, so are we sticking with what we know, or are we trying local cuisine? What would be your choice?
Bitch, you know that I don't branch out.
I know.
No, that's a goal. I am trying to branch out more in 2025. That is a goal. I am. And I'm trying things that I haven't before. I just did it at a restaurant the other day. I ordered something that I would not have normally ordered and I enjoyed it and it was okay. But so many times I've not, and I am a creature of habit, I will say that. But I'm trying to branch out more in 2025. How about you?
I want to try the local cuisine so much more over something I know. However, since I've had my gallbladder out, that's risky.
Oh, so you
I
got
will say
something
that.
else you got to factor
I
into that.
do, but I will just prepare, especially if I'm going some a location that is known for their food. I will prep for that because I want to be able to try all those street food, the mom and pop places. I want to go where the locals are going.
No, that makes sense. And that makes a lot of sense because they know where the good places are in that area. Well, so we got food covered. How about drinks? Like, are you more like coffee, more cocktail?
It depends because I will choose coffee 90% of the time unless we're drinking, but because I will say this, I do not like coffee and alcohol together. I've not found a alcoholic coffee drink I like, but I will drink coffee all day, even
Well,
after.
I remember when we were on the
I knew you were
cruise,
going to bring that up. Yeah.
you were like, I need good coffee.
Yeah, it was hard to find good coffee on that cruise.
And so, yeah, you were definitely like, we'd wake up in the morning, you're like, I need good coffee, Denise. And I'm like, okay, I need a mimosa, Cheryl. Let's
I
let's
know.
get let's get us both what we need.
And we found a great place that offered both. I got my coffee and you
And
got
then
your
that was our
mimosa.
jam. Once we
Yep.
found your good coffee place and my mimosa place, where did we go? Every morning.
Yep.
Went to that place.
I know there are some times where I will have a mimosa. Let's be real, it's not a mimosa, it's a prosecco because I don't want all the juice and the acidic. I maybe a splash of cranberry, just like you say for color. I learned that from you. Other than that, it's just a
It's
glass
just
of prosecco.
and cranberry is healthy for your digestive
Right.
system. So to me, I call it a blush champagne and or mimosa, and it's prosecco with a splash of cranberry, and it's a little bit healthier. It gives it good color. I mean, I think that's just you guys should try it. It'll make you feel better on a cruise.
Yes. All right, let's talk about tech and travel because that is interesting where we started out with all the things and then where we are now with the tech. Paper maps versus Google Maps.
I mean, I listen, you're making me feel old. Like I was never really a paper map person. Like where I came from back in my day. Makes me feel like the crypt keeper. But no, I have problems with both because I am not very navigationally I am navigationally challenged, meaning like I'm not good with directions and I could be using GPS on my phone because who knows what the fuck 500 yards, am I turning on
Oh,
this
yes.
tell me, am I turning on this street or is it the next street up? Throw me a fucking bone. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
I don't know what 500 yards is. If I did, I wouldn't even need your fucking app in the first place. But I have more hopes to getting to my destination with Google Maps than regular maps because regular paper maps, I mean,
Do you have any paper maps?
no, but I have in my life I've looked at paper maps, but no.
Yeah.
Do I own them? No. What about you? You're a
I
Girl
do
Scout.
have like I have North Carolina maps. I used to now because I traveled a lot before we had phones and everything. I mean, I
So you're
used to,
so Crypt Keeper old too.
yes, I am. And I had to drive. I used to drive before we had. Printing out MapQuest. Let's throw that one back. I would print out
MapQuest.
the MapQuest directions, and because I traveled a lot by myself or with my kids, I would always take the post-it note, write the next step, and put it on my rearview mirror. And as I reached that step, I pulled it off. But since I stopped using maps, actual paper maps, and I absolutely 100% rely on Google Maps. That is my jam.
I know, but if
GeoGuessr is
we're
amazing,
so
but here's the
relying on
thing.
it, but what if the battery dies? Then what the
Right.
fuck?
Well, not only that, I think since I've been doing the digital mapping, my skill has really taken a nosedive. I don't pay attention, and I don't mean I'm not paying attention like
No,
directly.
I know exactly what you're saying because when we were kids, how many phone numbers that were what 10 digits did we have to remember in our brain? My mom's number, my grandma's number, my best friend's number. Like
Well,
we remembered
since we're
all these.
flashing back, let me remind you, we used to not have to remember area codes. Remember that? It was only 7 digits. It was,
Right.
you didn't have to remember the area code. That wasn't always something you had to dial. Or for me, it wasn't because we lived, I guess, further out in the country. But I remember when it became a thing, like you had to start dialing the area code, and that was a whole other thing. And then
I
new
know, but
area
I'm
codes
just
came
saying
in.
our children have no idea what their number is, let alone our number or their like it's all just in the phone. That's all they know. Scroll through the phone, find what you need. But it's not we live in we're so fucked.
I know. All right, we're at like a little over time, so let's do this next, the last few parts in rapid fire. This or
Okay. Okay,
let's
rapid
try.
fire.
We've actually tried rapid fire before, and it doesn't go well because we always want to give an explanation because we like to chit chat. But we're on time for our timing. Let's do this real quick. Okay. When you are traveling, are you doing a digital detox or staying connected while traveling?
I'm
First thing that pops in your
I'm
head.
staying connected.
Same. I'm staying connected. I don't need to digital detox. All right. Selfies or asking strangers for photos?
I'm all about a selfie.
I used to be like always wanting to ask someone for the photo, but now I feel awkward, so I will prefer to do the selfie. And I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable when people ask, "Do you want me to take that for you?" That makes
I
me
if people
uncomfortable.
if people come to me and ask, I'll be like, absolutely. But you've heard the horror stories where they just run away with your phone, and I don't know what I would do if I don't have my phone. So that honestly what factors into whether I let a
Ooh, I didn't even
stranger
think of
hold my
that because
phone.
my phone is my wallet. Like
I
my
know
stuff.
that's
Oh
got
shit.
everything,
Okay,
my
no more of
life
that.
on it. So when somebody
Oh.
offers to take my phone to take a picture, I'm like,
You
hmm.
know what we need to do when we travel? Have the stretchable lanyard attached to
Now,
our
that
phone.
might seem a little awkward. They might not offer at that point.
That's all right though. All right, let's move on. Are you checking your emails on vacation or are you completely logging off?
I'm checking my
I'm
emails.
checking my emails. We kind of have to though. Window seat versus aisle seat.
Windows all day,
Aisle.
baby.
This is why we are such great travel because
I
I want the
know.
aisle.
I want to be
100%.
able to look out and see where I'm leaving from, see where I'm going to. I like to look at the fluffy clouds. I like I like to just look. It's I listen, I used to work in the cartography lab at University of North Carolina. So I'm all about some maps and some topography and I like it. I like to look out and see what different types of land I'm flying over.
I'm choosing window seat because I want the illusion of being able to escape. I don't like feeling trapped. Now, there's nowhere to escape on this plane, but I like the illusion that I'm not trapped in the middle
But I
or the
thought you
window
said you were
seat.
aisle.
I said aisle.
Okay, so you like the illusion of the window seat, but is I thought it
No,
was
I'm sorry. I like the illusion of the aisle seat. Did I say that incorrectly?
yeah, that's why I was confused. You said I like the illusion of a window seat.
Oh,
So
no, 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 no. I like, yeah. Okay, let me,
I'm just making sure because you
no,
said
because I
aisle, and
didn't
I just
realize
want to
I
make
said
sure we're clarifying that.
maybe what I was, I don't know what, I want the aisle seat 100%. I
Okay,
like the illusion of not being trapped, of being able to escape in the aisle seat.
okay. I
That's what
thought
I
it was like for a
prefer.
potty break. If you need to go pee, you need to get out and not
Well,
have.
that too, like I don't want to feel like I have to, inconvenience others. I don't like to feel trapped. I do not like the middle or the window. Now, one of the things okay, we need to not go on our tangent. We suck at the whole this or that or rapid fire where it's quick answer because we always want to elaborate. So let's move on. I
Okay.
want aisle, you want window. Check.
Yes.
Are you reclining your airplane seat or are you staying upright?
I just stay. You know me, you've slept with me. I just stay in my area, stay in my lane, don't cause any ruckus.
Yes.
I don't recline. I just stay there and I read my naughty book and I'm just like there for the ride and I try not to cause any kind of footprint. I take my trash with me. I'm just moving on. I'm just there for a fraction of the moment to get from point A to point B.
Yes, I am. I want to recline my seat, but I don't want to inconvenience others, so I usually stay up straight. Now, if it's a long flight, I might have to just for comfort, like whatever. But I do
I
leave it
sacrifice my comfort to just stay in my lane and just be at
correct. I don't want to
least.
inconvenience others. Yeah, it's stupid.
Just stay in my
All
lane.
right, I know the answer to this for you, but it was on the list. Wearing pajamas to the airport.
Why do people think it's okay to wear pajamas everywhere? I'm trying not to judge you, but I'm kind of fucking judging you because I know, I know it's not comfortable to be on a plane
That's
and
what leggings are for, though. Like you can still wear comfy clothes.
yeah,
Look,
I'm
I'm with you.
absolutely
I know I'm never
pajamas
catching
or
you. You won't even go
pajamas.
down to breakfast at the hotel
I
and
will not.
now I will say you've gotten better because you'll wear like your sleep leggings and your t-shirt, but you always put your sparkly sweater on over it that you have, whatever one you have that you're wearing for like keeping warm.
Right.
But you don't 100% change now since you've been traveling with me to go
Because
out to
I'm not
breakfast.
wearing pajamas. Because mine are like fleece line leggings and
Yeah.
like honey love tops. And it's like stuff that you could work out in. It doesn't look
But
like
even that you don't prefer, you still will
no,
top
I would
it off
still
with
prefer
something.
to
Whereas
get
I'm literally going down. Now, I won't wear my pajama pants to the airport unless I have a red eye. Maybe I haven't really done that, but I'm wearing leggings and comfy clothes. The only time I'm dressing up is when we have to go straight from the airport to an event. Then I'm wearing something that's business casual usually.
yeah. I can't do the pajamas thing. I just can't.
All right, let's do one more because we don't do well at being quick, rapid fire, this or that. We want to chat. All right, overpacking snacks or relying on airport food.
Well, I don't pack snacks.
I know, and that I don't understand that. I'm always packing snacks.
I don't,
Always.
well, but I don't order stuff at the airport either. So I guess I just don't eat. I'm going to rely on your snacks. I hope that we go together.
I am always taking snacks, and if there's something really good at the airport, I'm probably grabbing something there, depending on what my transition is. If I'm getting there in the morning, or just like a quick thing. But yeah, I'm usually
I
probably
mean,
eating.
I don't feel like I spend like,
Well,
there's
we've gotten the
only,
charcuterie. Did we get the charcuterie board on the airplane? It's not a charcuterie board. It was like a Lunchable for adults, but I think we bought it that one time on the airplane.
it was at the airport.
It was somewhere while I no, with the champagne. Did we not get that combo?
No, we just got the champagne.
Oh, got you. Okay. But that was fun.
And remember, we
Okay,
can get,
time. Because we are so over time right now, we get on so many damn tangents.
oh,
Save that for
Jesus.
another episode.
All right.
If you guys want to hear what she's gonna say, you got to come back next week, Judy. We'll probably forget what it was, but this was a lot of fun because I like to learn, our differences as well as and we want to hear what you guys do.
Yeah,
What are your
everybody's
choices?
travel style is so different, so interject, intervene, we want to hear what your
Leave some
travel style
comments.
is.
Yeah. Interact with us, guys. We need to know you're listening.
That's right. We want to hear
Or we're
how
just
you
having fun
travel.
talking with ourselves. We'll keep going, but we'd like y'all to participate.
Well,
Okay.
we wanted, and we are invested in you. We want to hear your travel style, and that
Yes,
might help us. Like, if you give us some input, we are travel agents. That might help us help somebody else because of your
absolutely.
input. So we're here for you to help others.
All right.
Have a great
Bye,
day.
guys.